Hey, what's happening everyone? Pragmatic Addict here. I am back with a side of allergies, that is. I apologize if I do sound like a dying horse. We will get through this together. So, I survived When Evil Lurks. So, this is a film that has been on my radar for a few huge reasons. Even though I never fully made it through the trailer, I saw like 2 glimpses at some scenes and I was like, yep, looks like fun. But first off, the director of this film, his previous film, his directorial debut, Terrified, I actually kind of praised that film. I was actually really close to doing an analyzed video of it, like last year or something. I was watching it and I just got really sucked into it. It was like the first time I actually saw it. I just kind of watched it on a rainy day. Fucking praised it. And going into this film, like upon me viewing it, it didn't have a single bad review. So, like, as far as this film having pretty big shoes to fill as far as, like, expectations for me, based off of the director's previous work, it looked like it was having no problem doing that. So this film's plot reads, the residents of a small rural town discover that a demon is about to be born among them. They desperately try to escape, but it may be too late. And with that being said, with that being so vague, and me not, like, even seeing a full trailer, what I admired right off the bat was the mystery of everything going on in this movie. So the movie starts off with showing us 2 men that are really kind of on edge about something that's going on in the area. We're hearing gunshots in the distance, dogs are acting really weird, severed body parts are showing up scattered around them. It's just these 2 brothers that are trying to find out what the hell is going on around them. Now that I thought was fine. That whole like slow burn horror mystery, I was totally entranced by. But as the movie begins, like shortly after this, we get a little bit more context as to what may actually be going on. Again, this film's plot being a demonic presence. And what I will say about that is that I think that that's fine too. Obviously, you know, there's body parts scattered and shit. There's chaos kind of happening in the distance. Dogs are acting weird. Obviously, by the film's title and by this plot, yes, evil is just kind of lurking around this small town. But I don't know if I'd say that it just felt out of place. It came on too strong, or it just like broke the slow burn mystery streak that I was really into. But it seemed like the film just right off the bat really wanted to experiment with body horror more than anything. Like that was like, okay, we're starting to shoot. First scene of the movie, let's show some fucking Hills Have Eyes bullshit. And it just kind of turned me off because, again, I'm a sucker for like atmospheric horror, folk horror, slow burn mystery. And based off of how this film started off and by how much I like Terrified, how much praise this film was getting, I really just wanted to sit back and just really see how this film unraveled. I didn't want to get into some fucking bloating thumb motherfucker from goddamn Little Nightmares. And what I will say with still being mindful is that I think it's fine overall for like an overall story point or like movie point at this point. It just felt very out of place for me as far as like how out there they're trying to go with the body horror. Just like based off of how strong the movie started with just, okay, well, what's with that? Why is that happening? That's pretty fucked up. Who are these guys? What's up with this whole area? And just going into this, especially, again, just starting right off the bat with the movie, it really rubbed me the wrong way and it had me a bit concerned for how the movie was going to play out afterward. But in saying that, after this whole sequence has kind of like run its course, the movie really does give me everything I wanted out of that like slow burn mystery, folk horror, atmospheric horror, everything about that. It just goes right back to it. And it kind of made me forgive that. And especially as the movie goes on, I look back at that and I'm like, okay, so that was really just kind of starting the movie for its events, just trying to be that striking shock horror thing. I still think it was a little bit out of place. Still don't think it was fully needed, but everything after this, completely forgive it. And I know that I started off a little bit rough with this review, but by the end of this movie, I can officially say that this is one of the most brutal and disturbing horror movies I have seen in a while. I mean, there is some really fucked up, grisly, alarming shit that happens throughout this film's runtime. And even so, like, earlier on, like, right after this rough intro, we just get spoon-fed all this shit from left and right, from all these different characters, the horror pushing its like boundaries where you're just like, oh, okay, well, 20 minutes in, it's definitely living up to its title. There is some fucking evil lurking about. Because when I did like when the horror was being fucked up and grisly and alarming was when you didn't see it coming, you didn't know why it was there, when it was actually alarming for a fucking reason, and it really lived up to its title, and it brought me back as a viewer in the beginning where I just wanted answers. And that was my favorite part of the movie, was when you knew it was at its peak. Everything has escalated, and there is absolutely no other answer other than what evil actually is, like in its core, has latched on to these whereabouts, to this area. There is no other reason based off of the horror, based off of these characters, based off of the boundaries. Yeah, again, it lives up to its title. And in a sense, it almost feels like a little bit of like an apocalyptic movie, because you just know that none of these characters are any match for what they're up against, and we don't know why the hell this is happening or how to stop it. And based off of just the absolute unforgettable, scarring, boundary-pushing horror that we've seen just up to this point, what we could possibly be getting next, like, there's just no preparation for it. Because this movie does more or less center on a family. And what I loved is not only how unique each character is because of who they are, but again, going back to the boundary pushing, what it actually does with all these characters. For example, there's an elderly woman, there's a middle-aged boy who's on the spectrum, and then there's just a couple young kids. And do not take it lightly when I say nobody is fucking safe in this movie. And as far as the boundaries that the horror pushes, it does the same thing with its fucking characters. Like, there was this one scene that I can't even recall for how long it was that I was unnerved just gripping onto my seat. Because, like I said earlier, how this kind of feels like an apocalyptic movie, when everything really just goes to shit. Like, this whole family is just cramped up in this car. You know, there's an elderly woman in the back, the grandma. There's a little boy who's like 5. And then there's the kid who's on the spectrum. And then there's the 2 brothers in the passenger side and the driver's seat. And throughout, again, I don't know how long, I can't really recall, the son who's on the spectrum is doing very questionable, alarming things that you know is like, okay, well, based off of what we've already seen, and based off of what the fuck is happening, maybe check on this guy. Maybe keep an eye on him. But because of everything that has already happened, because of everything that is already happening, this is not like the biggest concern for everybody. They're worrying about, you know, the world around them shattering and why nothing is making sense, why people are eating fucking brains and dogs are killing fucking kids and shit. And that was just one of those things for me where I was like, based off of the boundary pushing horror that I've already seen, and based off of the state of this character, and with just how much it doesn't let up with just leaning onto this, with kind of like letting this kind of come back into focus and leaving it in the background and kind of spiking something, you're just like under this spell that you just want to get out of. Again, it's got a bit of a rough start, but as a horror film, it is one of the most boundary pushing, one of the most unique, most brutal, disturbing films I've seen in a long time. And overall, I'm going to give When Evil Lurks a positive review. So there are a lot of films coming out this weekend, and I put up a poll for the ones I'm most excited to see, the ones I'm hoping to see, and in case I can't get to them all because of, you know, time and my allergies and everything, if I'm just not feeling up to it, let me know which ones you guys are most looking forward to, and I'll try and review them. I know tomorrow I already have tickets for Strange Way of Life and the Royal Hotel, so we'll see what ends up coming out and everything, what we end up getting to, but that is going to do it for my review of When Evil Lurks. And with everything coming out this weekend, I do recommend that you guys go see this movie. Just get through that rough intro and then just strap in, because nothing can prepare you for this movie. But yes, guys, that is going to do it for my review of When Evil Lurks. Let me know what you guys thought about the review and for the movie. For those that have seen it, holy shit. And I will see you guys in the next one. Take care, and thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you in the next one.